Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. We're going to talk about San Diego Comic-Con. No, we're not there. But this article came out yesterday with Wrap. The Wrap said, in a post-COVID world, does Comic-Con still matter to Hollywood? Now, this is pretty interesting because Comic-Con no longer is the place for comics. In fact, a lot of comic book publishers are noping out. They're not going back to Comic-Con. I don't think DC Comics has a booth this year. And now they're saying that Comic-Con isn't even that important to Hollywood. Now, everything I've seen, the coverage I've seen, is it actually looks pretty busy. This is the first Comic-Con in a couple years. They did Comic-Con at home, which was a dismal failure. I mean, the videos barely got any views. People weren't watching it. They weren't doing it. Random YouTubers were making videos that were getting a lot more traffic. In fact, I think our videos talking about Comic-Con at home, not getting a lot of traffic, got more traffic than the actual Comic-Con videos, which is pretty sad. They clearly don't know how to do this virtually. But they are back live now, and we're going to talk about this. Does it even matter? Does Comic-Con even matter? A lot of people go to it, you know, but does it even matter anymore? And again, this is coming from the Wrap. This isn't coming from us, so we're going to see what they have to say about it. Anyway, before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 272,000 subs, almost 273. Hit the subscribe button, like and subscribe for objective pop culture content. We don't hate you here at Clownfish TV. It seems like that's the trendy thing to do. A lot of pop culture websites and YouTube channels are like, oh, we hate all those toxic fans. Nah. That's over. That whole period's over. You know, it's really weird. I saw a video the other day. I think it was Zach put a video up talking about the ending of cancel culture. And I think he's right. I mean, I think there's still like pockets of it there somewhere. But I'll tell you the truth. In regards to San Diego Comic-Con, we actually got an invite from a Hollywood studio to go to a VIP party at San Diego Comic-Con. We did. And they knew our names. They knew our first names. And they invited us personally, but we weren't going to Comic-Con. They just assumed we were. But I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, wait a second. I guess we're not that canceled. I guess we're not. So before we get into this story with the Wrap, I just want to say there's some pretty badass stuff at Comic-Con this year. I mean, they've been saving up for like 2 years. Lots of He-Man stuff. Yes, there's He-Man news regarding Kevin Smith's show, which I don't give a shit about. But lots of beautiful Mattel toys coming out. We got New Adventures of He-Man. Pass. Shadow Weaver's nice. Stratos is nice. I know they have Frosta coming out. They have this Eternia playset. There we go. Frosta. Look at that. Look at that. Some beautiful toys. We got some more Sunman bad guys here. Manny faces with the Filmation faces and the comic faces. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff coming out, right? Lots of Transformers being unveiled. I know they're doing Beast Wars, some new Beast Wars Transformers and stuff. But they're saying that it doesn't really matter to Hollywood anymore. And again, this is coming from the Wrap. Post-pandemic, studios and networks have chilled to the tangible business sense of the annual fan convention. So basically, we had 2 years with no Comic-Con, and they might have been like, yeah, it didn't really affect us not to go. The first true San Diego Comic-Con since 2019 faces a sense of unknown. Will a presence at Comic-Con actually generate fan interest in any tangible way? Does Comic-Con, which kicks off Thursday and runs through the weekend, even matter anymore? Comic-Con has long been a key component to the marketing of modern blockbusters. Yes, not comic books like it used to be, but Hollywood movies. While the convention might have once been about the art of comic books, it has become something far more commercial. This is where studios and networks come to show off first look footage, present activations designed to ignite awareness and make announcements of upcoming projects in the splashiest way possible, usually with a judicious sprinkling of star power. Yeah. This year, some major studios are sitting the convention out completely. Sony, which has the Spider-Man movies, Universal Pictures, Lionsgate are all foregoing major panels despite having a presence in years past. Yeah, we know that DC Comics is not there. Warner Brothers, Disney's Marvel Studios, and Paramount are back in Hall H. Warner Brothers is for movies, but again, comic books, they don't have a booth. The massive convention hall that fits nearly 5,800 fans and the most highly coveted location in all of the con. So we have the president of production at 7 Buck Productions, which is The Rock's. He thinks the journey to San Diego is still worth it. Well, of course he does, because they're working on the Rocks movies, and he's at the Comic-Con. It's one of these things you want to be able to share with the fans and do it in a really big, fun, explosive way. So they're talking about how they used to have these massive panels for Marvel Studios and Terminator Dark Fate. What? So here is a producer. They don't say who it is, though. I don't know anybody really treated Comic-Con as a meaningful way to promote a movie. This guy worked on Scott Pilgrim, Fright Night, Cowboys and Aliens, and Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, which is one of the most underrated movies ever made, by the way. I freaking love Sky Captain. I would love to see a Batman movie done in the style of Sky Captain, but based on the animated movie or the animated series, but done in that style. I think it'd be badass. Anyway, they had a huge presence at Comic-Con, yet they all ended up not translating into box office in the real world. That's true. Scott Pilgrim was huge there. I remember that. Cowboys and Aliens. That was a shell game, man. Cowboys and Aliens was like, they set up a whole comic book publisher just to put this comic out to make this movie, and it failed. It was Platinum, I think. This happened with Blade Runner 2049. Tron, too. I remember Tron Legacy. They had the big teaser for Tron Legacy. So they're saying, well, just because geeks like it, just because it gets a lot of buzz online, doesn't mean it's going to translate into dollars. Marvel's Hall H presentation remains a mystery. Yeah, we think they're going to have the mutants instead of the X-Men. Warner Brothers has been very upfront about Dwayne Johnson and his DC projects. For us, doing events like Comic-Con is always a big deal. And DJ is as good as it comes to being in front of live audiences. Again, do normies care? The San Diego Comic-Con of yesteryear might be gone for good. Whatever presentations and stars are there just to appease fans, a top talent agent told us. The crazy Comic-Con era of the late 2000s and early 2010s is never coming back. It's broken. Again, the pandemic kind of broke things. Now, this is interesting just in general with comic conventions. They have been coming back. We've actually done several, and there has been pent-up demand for conventions. There really has been. I just don't think there are going to be as many of them, and I'm wondering if fewer and fewer of them are going to be celebrity petting zoos, and Comic-Con is expensive. It's crazy expensive. I mean, very few comic book artists actually go to Comic-Con anymore unless they're given a table or something. And most of the time they get the table and then they leave the table and they just cruise around the convention, looking for swag. But I'm wondering if we've hit peak convention. If like the Comic-Con scene, the convention scene is never going to be what it was before the pandemic. Like we hit peak Marvel, we hit peak comic convention, we hit peak Comic-Con, and now it's just kind of the downward the downward slide. A lot of studios just sitting it out. It said, unsurprisingly, Comic-Con became more inwardly focused, at least according to a franchise film producer. Comic-Con became a place for agents and executives to get away on the company card for a few days. And then almost ruefully, the sad thing is, once Comic-Con started to be about the movies, not the comics, most of the comic creators were tragically given short shrift by the con. Yeah, comic creators don't matter. They don't matter. Another Comic-Con mainstay was theme parties, which combined over-the-top excess with an attempt at building awareness and buzz. A few of the parties are still happening. I guess they're doing one for the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Bodies. The lavish parties and all-night ragers that used to dominate the nighttime hours during the convention is also a thing of the past. It's just not the same anymore. Agencies used to throw huge parties. Yeah, we know a lot of the agencies are combining now. Stars with no affiliation to any of the presentations used to go there. That era is gone. It's gone. Not that everyone is spelling doom for Comic-Con and its importance when it comes to rolling out a new project. But yeah, it's just about getting it out there. The Disney of it all. This year's Comic-Con, like 2019, is similar in another key regard. It's taking place a few weeks before D23, Disney's version of Comic-Con. That's true. It's kind of like Netflix, where a lot of these companies, and look, DC did it too with the Fandom, and I think they actually did better with Fandom than Comic-Con did online. But they're just taking their ball and they're starting their own conventions. Unlike 2019, Disney will have a huge presence at Comic-Con. They aren't saving everything for their own event. But yeah, again, the big announcements they're probably going to make at D23, at least the theme park announcements. Disney Plus is headed to Comic-Con for the first time ever. So that's kind of interesting. D23, like, God, I remember a couple of years ago, they actually got booed when they announced the Pirates of the Caribbean change. People were like, nobody wanted this. So when Bob Iger left the company, so did Xenia Mucha, described by the New York Times as the company's powerful, combative chief communications officer. She was one of the driving forces behind D23. So it sounds like Disney's like, yeah, we're just going to hedge our bets now and throw them with both. So with her gone, less emphasis and corporate pressure on D23, Disney is able to fully engage with Comic-Con again. Maybe with so many studios dismissing Comic-Con's importance, Disney can win over some of those hearts and minds. I think Disney is just desperate to get as many eyeballs as they can. I mean, look, Comic-Con has fundamentally changed. It's still pretty cool to look at the photos and see all the announcements. And they got a freaking $100,000 Baby Yoda animatronic out there now you can buy. But it does seem like its importance to Hollywood is going to be on the decline, just in general. I mean, I think that Hollywood has learned, especially during the pandemic, that you can get butts in seats and get people to subscribe to your streaming service without spending all this money on parties and all this money on flying people out there. And especially if the companies aren't doing well. I mean, DC Comics, again, they're not even going to have a booth this year because they probably don't have the money for it, and David Zaslav isn't going to spend the money. So we'll see what happens. But I just thought it was interesting to have an industry publication say that San Diego Comic-Con doesn't matter anymore. That's huge, and that we're on the other side of it now. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.